Many of us Filipinos will not be able to retire early. Hindi dahil hindi sila nag-i-invest, but because the way they invest does not match their unique risk profile. Ito yung madalas ko nakikita. They copy how others invest, they pick the fund with the highest past return, or pinipili nila yung pinaka-safe and conservative na fund kahit 20 years pa ang kanilang goal. So on paper, mukha silang invested, pero in real life, mali yung risk level for their situation. So either the money grows too slow and they never reach their target, o baka naman, sobrang aggressive nila at pag bumagsak ang market, ubos yung pinaghirapan nila. Ako pala si Jay and I help seasoned overseas Filipinos create an early retirement blueprint so they can retire before 60. Kung yan din ang gusto mo, you can apply for coaching through the link below or by scanning this QR code. Sa video na to, I'll show you why knowing your risk profile is important, paano mo makukuha ang unique risk profile mo, and why getting this wrong can cost you years of your life working abroad. Ang common na scenario na napapansin ko is that when we try to understand ano bang ating risk profile, majority of the calculators online is focused mostly sa investment risk tolerance. Pag bumagsak ba yung market, anong mafe-feel mo? Or minsan marinig mo sa mga financial advisors na tatanungin sa'yo if ikaw ba ay isang conservative, moderate, or aggressive na investor. And for years, I've really tried looking for ways on how I can help clients na maintindihan and ma-quantify kung ano ba talaga yung kanilang risk profile. Kasi for most cases, itong mga investment risk tolerance na assessment na to is only focusing on the subjective part of risk. And good news is I was able to discover itong 3-factor risk profile ng CFA Institute. It's really meant for financial advisors or professionals to help them in identifying ano ba talaga yung investment risk profile ng clients nila. You can also use this information to help you make sound investment decisions. So according sa guide na to, the 3 things that we need to know to identify our unique risk profile is to know what our risk need is, ano yung ating risk-taking ability, and lastly is yung ating behavioral loss tolerance. So sa risk need, gusto mo lang malaman ano ba talaga yung specific na risk na kailangan mo i-take in order for you to reach your goal on time. Ang tatlong bagay na kailangan mong intindihin dito is yung required rate of return, also known as growth rate ng iyong fund. Sa market risk environment, gusto mong malaman ano yung current and expected conditions when you invest in the market, whether sa stock market man yan or property. Ang mga importante dito is ano yung interest rate or inflation rate. Importante to kasi gusto mo maging realistic when you run your assumptions. Consequence of failure naman, kung hindi mo pa ma-reach yung goal na yun, is that important to you or hindi naman? Let's say, ang goal mo is mag-retire by the age of 55. Gano'n siya ka-importante sa'yo kung ma-miss mo to or hindi? In practice, ganito natin siya ginagawa. You are 41 years old and gusto mo mag-retire by the age of 55, which is 14 years from now. And ang annual expenses mo is around 50,000 pesos a month in today's value. Pina-factor in natin dito is yung expected inflation rate kung saan ka magre-retire. So again, if babalik tayo dun sa example, we are talking about itong market risk. And ano yung ideal na investment return para ma-reach natin yung goal mo. So yan yung required rate of return. And historically, if mag-i-invest tayo sa global markets, let's say itong US market for the last 10 years, and 2016 to 2025, ang kanyang annualized return has always been around 12%. Ayan, kung i-zoom in ko siya dito. Ngayon, paano ko sabihin mo na ayoko naman Kuya Jay masyadong exposed sa equities lang. Gusto ko rin ng may konting bonds. Kung dito tayo titingin sa 1926 to 2022 na data na performance ng stocks and bonds, ang in-anticipate natin na returns would be at around 9.5 if doon tayo sa 2080 na allocation. 20% bonds and 80% stocks. So yun yung pwede natin gawin para lang ma-check ano ba muna yung pwede nating gamitin na investment rate of return. Kasi for example, dito sa case nitong client na to, if he'll be investing 200,000 a month, makapag-retire pa rin siya by the age of 55. Pero by the age of 47, pwede na siyang mag-slow down. Kasi nga, enough na yung fund to grow until he reach 25. So yung in terms of risk need sa case niya, hindi niya kailangan mag-take ng 9% kasi nga enough pa yung kanyang time frame para sa ganung klase ng rate of return. So kung sakali man na maging 10% man yung returns ng market, edi good, mas mapapaaga pa nga yung kanyang pagre-retire or pag-coast sa kanyang retirement. Pero kung sakali na maiksi na lang yung kanyang time frame, kunyari he's already 49 and gusto niya mag-retire by the age of 55. Kahit sabi mo na 10% yung returns, baka mahirapan siya. Kasi nga, maiksi yung kanyang time frame. In terms of risk need sa ganung klase ng situation, the need is high, the risk is also high. Kasi tatandaan mo dito is, the more equities na ilalagay mo sa portfolio mo, the riskier your portfolio becomes. So, and when you say a portfolio has a higher risk, there's a higher chance of you losing money. So according nga dito sa CFA na guide, if ang iyong risk need is low, ang inyong exposure lang sa equities or growth assets is only 30%. If moderate naman, between 30 and 70%. And kung ang iyong need to take risk is high, then has to be greater than 80%. So nagbigay ng framework ang CFA para ma-measure mo kung ano ba yung risk needs na kakailanganin mo. Maraming questions yan. Actually, these are like 10 questions. So kung mapapansin mo, no, ang dami pala talagang dapat i-consider before you start investing. Kasi ang madalas na pinag-uusapan lang is ano ba yung return ng isang investment vehicle. And paano ba ako kikita dyan? Yung laging tinatanong, di ba? Pero asking that question is not a wrong question. It's just a bad first question. Kasi when you're able to manage yung downside ng portfolio mo or ng investments mo, then yung upsides or yung returns can take care of itself. Kasi nga, alam mo kung paano ka mawawala ng pera, alam mo yung dapat mong gawin, and alam mo lang yung mga dapat na kailangan mong i-factor in when you are running your numbers. Pero hindi mo na kailangang isa-isahin itong mga questions na to kasi later on, I'll give you a tool para makraft mo ang iyong unique na risk profile for your investments. Pero knowing your risk need alone is not enough kasi nga meron pa tayong dalawang kailangang i-tackle. So sumunod is itong risk-taking ability. So dito gusto mong malaman is kaya mo bang mag-take ng certain amount of risk without breaking your standard of living. It's more about capacity and not your courage. So ang unang part is itong time horizon. Kasi the longer time na you can invest, the more you can manage the risk. Dahil nga ang stock market is up and down. And ideally talaga, pagka mas bata, kaya mo mag-take ng risk. Kasi nga, ang best asset mo when you're young is your time eh. Pag bumagsak ang market, kaya mo makarecover. Versus those na late na and hindi na kayang mag-take ng risk. So technically, if your time horizon is long, then you can take in more risk. Ganun lang siya kasimple. Yung next is itong need for liquidity. Mayroon ka pa bang ibang paggagamitan ng pera? Kunyari, ang plan mo is mag-retire in the next 20 years. Pero may papaaralin ka sa college in the next 5 years. So, yung need mo for liquidity is high kasi nga meron ka pang other goal na kakailanganin ng cash. And hindi mo po pwedeng ilagay yung same na pera na yon na intended for college dun sa iyong retirement fund. Kasi nga, ang goal mo for the retirement fund is 20 years and yung college mo is 5 years, may tendency na kapag pinulout mo yung pera na sinet mo for college, baka bagsak yung market by that time. And kakailanganin mo na yung cash kasi mag-aaral na yung anak mo. And dito siguro medyo nagigets mo na kapag iba-iba ang time horizon mo and ang yung need for liquidity, nag-iiba din ang fund na pinaglalagyan mo. Kung kanina dun sa goal mo for retirement, let's say 70-30 ka, pero para dun sa goal mo na mas maiksi, kailanganin mo ng cash agad in the next 5 years, then most likely, dito ka sa mas mababang allocation ng equities. Para ma-make sure mo lang na mababa yung chance of you losing the capital that you have put in para dun sa goal mo na mas maiksi. If kailangan mo mag-withdraw ng 5% or more from your portfolio, then ibig sabihin, mataas yung liquidity need mo. Kasi nga, ginagamit mo na agad yung pera ngayon eh. Kung ganun yung situation mo, then it means hindi ka makakapag-take ng mas mataas na risk kasi you need cash urgently. Pero kung wala ka namang other goals, and most of your goals now talagang for the future at sabi mo, okay na ako sa buhay ko, Kuya Jay. Na-enjoy ko na yung pera ko. Gusto ko na lang siyang palaguin. And most of my goals are set for more than 10 years. Then kaya mo mag-take ng mas mataas na risk. Now, dito naman sa risk capacity, ang gusto mong malaman is how much loss yung kaya mong i-take sa portfolio mo without hurting yung essentials like rent, school fees, or food, or anything na kailangan mong pagkagastusan. Nakaka-apekto dito is how stable your income is. Kung hindi lang siya stable, but also gaano ba kalaki or kaliit ng iyong income. Kung meron ka na bang emergency fund, kasi if wala, then pag nag-crash yung market, kakailanganin mong mag-withdraw ng pera from your fund. So, ang risk-taking capacity mo is bumababa. Kaya maganda talaga na kapag nag-i-invest ka na, meron ka ng at least 3 to 6 months of emergency fund. Chine-check mo rin if meron ka bang enough na insurance para ma-cover yung loss of income kung sakali na ma-disable ka or magkaroon ng malubhang sakit. Kasi otherwise, kung hindi enough ang insurance mo, then gagamitin mo uli yung pera mo sa portfolio para i-cover ang medical and day-to-day expenses mo. Personally, dito ko nakikita yung karamihan ng mga overseas Filipino nagkakamali. Lalo na sa mga nag-invest sa multiple condominiums na kumuha ng 3, 4, 5 condos in hopes na i-flip ito. Nag-over borrow sila for those properties na higit pa sa kanilang income. Kaya ang ending kapag hindi nag-materialize yung plano nila na after 3 or 5 years pwede nang i-flip, malulubog talaga sila sa utang. para lang i-sustain yung kanilang mga investments. Based on the guide ng CFA, low ang iyong risk-taking capability if ang time horizon mo is equal or less than 5 years, or ang kailangan mong cash every year is greater than or equal to 5% ng iyong portfolio value and wala kang outside income or assets to cover yung emergency or yung standard cost of living. Pero kung ang time horizon mo naman is 10 years and above and hindi mo kakailanganin ng 5% of your portfolio every year at meron kang enough na income outside of your assets, then kaya mong mag-take ng risk. Kaya high ang iyong capacity. And anything in between is moderate. And again, kasama to dun sa risk profiling tool na i-share ko sa inyo later on. So ang pangatlo, and isa rin sa pinaka-importante in understanding your unique investment risk profile is itong behavioral loss tolerance. And magugulat ka kasi nga, di ba? Doon sa mga assessments na tinitake mo, majority na minimeasure lang is yung risk tolerance. Di ba? Ito lang kadalasan na may mga quiz and assessments. Pero ang dami pa pala, 6 pala sila. No? So si risk tolerance kasi is ano lang yung willingness mo to accept the ups and downs of the market. Mag-drop ba yung portfolio ng 20%? Okay ka lang ba? Ano sa tingin mo yung magiging reaction mo? And yung risk preference mo naman, usually ito yung sinasabi mo based kung saan ka komportable na i-take na risk. Kaya yung iba di ba sinasabi, parang ano lang ako conservative ako or moderate ako na risk taker. Pero hindi nag-stop doon yung pagme-measure ng risk, lalo-lalo na itong behavioral loss tolerance kasi meron pang ilang mga bagay katulad itong financial knowledge. Kasi when you understand yung basics ng investments na pinapasok mo, nagkakaroon ka ng confidence and alam mo yung ina-anticipate mo if something happens sa market. Kung mag-crash man ito or mag-rise up, hindi ka maging overconfident or kahit papano, hindi ka magpapanik. Kasi usually, di ba, ang mga tao are fearful of investing sa stock market or any other investment vehicle kasi nga, ang root cause niyan is hindi talaga nila alam kung paano ba yung nag-work. Competence builds confidence, di ba? So, the more na nagiging knowledgeable ka sa isang area, nagkakaroon ka ng skill and slowly nabibuild ang yung competence dun sa area na yon na tinatry mong i-improve. Ganon din sa investing. So, pag mataas ang knowledge mo sa certain investment, you can take more risk. So, sumunod is itong investing experience dahil knowledge alone is not enough kung hindi mo siya i-apply, right? And for you to have experience, then you need to take action on the information that you have. So, kung ikaw yung investor na medyo matagal na, medyo may experience ka na sa pag-i-invest, napagdaanan mo na yung ups and downs ng market. Kaya yung risk-taking ability mo rin, tumataas kasi nga, alam mo na-experience mo na siya . Kumbaga, alam mo na yung anticipate mo when this thing happens. Maganda example dito is nung nagkaroon nga netong recent na tariff war earlier this year, right? So, bumagsak yung value ng S&P 500. Isa kong client ay nagpanic kung bubibenta na daw ba siya o hindi. Pero sinabi ko nga uli na, okay, normal ito sa investing sa stock market kasi I've been investing for the last 10 years na . So, palagi ko ito nakikita. Ang tinanong ko lang sa kanya is, kailan mo ba talaga kailanganin yung pera? So, sabi niya, hindi pa naman ngayon . After 10 years, 20 years pa. O di, ano dapat mong gawin? Sabi ko, then I should be invested, sabi niya. Kasi nga hindi niya pa na-experience yung ganong klase ng pag-drop ng market when she started investing globally. Yun yung nadadala na experience. And if you have someone who has also experienced it, it's such a huge plus sa yung investment journey. Kasi meron kang kabatuhan ng idea or at least meron kang mapagtatanungan. Sumunod is itong risk perception. Ito yung belief mo pagdating sa certain investment. Kaya nangyari, pag sinabi sa'yo na stock market, ano sa tingin mo ang stock market? Yung iba sabihin, casino yan. Napaka-risky ng stock market yan kaya hindi ako naglalagay ng pera dyan . Yan yung conversation ko sa isa kong client sa Singapore naman. Kaya most of our money is invested sa bonds. Kaya lang, ang baba ng returns ng bonds ng Singapore. So, I encouraged her to learn more and study more about global investing and try to experience investing yung paunti-unti lang habang hindi pa siya ganun ka-experience and knowledgeable about the global markets. Kaya mahalaga talaga na we have this lifelong learner na attitude when you are investing. Hindi lang yung, nabasa ko once, tapos na. You should always learn new ways of investing or growing your money. And then last is itong risk composure. Ang tanong na dito is, anong ginawa mo nung nag-crash yung market? Kasi kahit sabihin mo na, mataas naman yung tolerance ko, tsaka preferred ko yung mga high risk na investment kasi I'm a risk taker. high risk, high return. Pero, nung na-experience mo na yung crash, nawala yung kalahati ng portfolio mo, anong ginawa mo? Kung bumili ka pa when the market crashed, then most likely ang tolerance mo for risk is high. Usually for younger investors nga, dahil nga they're knowledgeable na and they are anticipating itong mga dips ng market, the best time to buy for them is really pag nag-crash ang market. Yun naman yung worst time for retirees. Iba-iba talaga ang approach natin sa investing. Depende sa season natin. And that is one of the main reasons why you shouldn't just copy anyone else pagdating dito sa investment journey mo. So ngayon alam mo na yung tatlong factors. Paano mo naman gagamitin tong tatlong factors na to? Well, good thing kasama na yan sa guide ng CFA Institute, which is ginawa nilang parang traffic light. Green light ka daw if ang yung risk need, risk-taking ability, and behavioral loss tolerance aligned. Whether mataas man yan or mababa, basta aligned yung tatlong yan, green ang iyong profile. Pag sinabing green, ibig sabihin wala nang further calibration sa iyong data or sa iyong asset allocation. Yellow ka naman if ang iyong behavioral loss tolerance is lower, okay? Lower than either of your risk need and risk-taking ability. Very common ito for many high-income earners na napansin ko. Majority of their income is nandun na nakasave either sa high-yield savings accounts. Yung iba nga checking account lang eh. Pero ang taas ng income nila and ang taas din ng need nila to take risk kasi there are some cases wherein baka konti na lang yung time frame nila para ma-reach yung goals nila. Pero dahil nga dun sa kanilang low understanding about certain investments, then yung kanilang behavioral loss tolerance bumababa. Kaya if ito yung situation mo na you are required to take more risk in order for you to reach your goal pero hindi mo magawa kahit kaya mo, then you need to speak to someone you trust, a finance professional na you trust para mas maintindihan mo pa how investing works and ano yung tamang allocation for you na manageable sa iyong situation and sa iyong time frame and sa iyong unique na risk profile. And relevant siya if ang iyong risk need is higher than your ability. Ibig sabihin lang nun, hindi realistic yung goals mo unless you save more, you work longer, or you lower your target. Taas yung need, pero yung capacity mo to take risk is low. Red flag agad yan. Most likely nag-ahabol ka na sa mga season na yan. And if you take enormous amount of risk, then baka mas mapalala pa ang sitwasyon ng finances mo. Kaya it's something that you should really consider. Kailangan mo i-adjust ang iyong goals and your targets. Ngayon, maraming profile itong guide ng CFA. Maraming iba't ibang combination para masabi na green light ka ba or yellow light or red light. Kaya nung una ko itong nabasa, sabi ko, grabe dami naman nito. Hindi ko siya kayang ilagay sa Excel. Ang hirap, ang daming rules. Pero the good thing is, dahil meron nang AI, I was able to create itong investment risk profiler that I use for my clients na you can also use now para malaman mo rin kung ano ba talaga ang unique investment risk profile mo. So you can scan itong QR code na to na nakikita nyo sa screen or you can also click on the link na ilalagay ko dun sa description nitong episode na to. Pwede siya mag-extract ng PDF report na pwede mong magamit as reference. Everything na nandito is for educational purposes, di ba? And make sure you speak to your trusted finance professional to explain this in detail. Pwede pa rin magkamali ang AI pagdating sa kanyang computations. So yeah, I hope it helps. At ngayon, alam mo na yung unique investment risk profile. Then I suggest that you watch this next video to help you organize your excess cash into 6 bucket system that actually make sense. See you there.